Welcome to the Software People Stories. I'm Shiv.
I'm Chitra,
And I'm Gayatri.
We bring you interesting, untold stories of people.
associated with the creation
Or consumption of software-based solutions.
You'll hear stories of what worked.
and sometimes what didn't,
You will also hear very personal experiences.
and insights that would trigger your thoughts.
And inspire you to do even greater things.
In this episode, I continue the conversation with Steven Aberle, founder of a company in stealth mode working on domain-aware large language model-based processing for very niche applications. In the previous episode, Steven spoke about his origin story and also how he got into some of the technical challenges related to domain-aware large language model solutions and the patent in that area that he has. And he continues to share about how the same engine can still retain originality or uniqueness when used by different clients. How still updates can be made to the base engine or the base model that can mature over time, benefiting all the clients. How ingesting content from various sources is becoming easier with APIs. And then the reverse podcast started, where Steven asked me about where young companies could go wrong. What are some patterns that I've seen, etc. Well, I shared about three main things. One is about the founder's passion, the chemistry with the investors, and the tendency to scale too fast. So he shares how he has approached these things and his own trigger to jump into this venture. That it was born out of hating some of the persistent pain points in his area of work. His philosophy of what you do is what you are. And inspired by the Fremen in the Dune series of books and how the focus on action was something that inspires him, and he also shares that with his team. The importance of being frugal during the startup phase and being funded by customers are trends that he says will definitely help startups quickly gain some stability. His personal practices to stay calm and how the focus should be on taking care of people in the community that you're trying to create and being fanatic about solving their problems. And finally, not measuring success only by monetary standards. Again, it's a very interesting episode. Listen on. Yeah, since this is domain-specific generative AI,
Yes.
is there a possibility that, let's say, there are three vendors responding to an RFP?
Right.
Obviously, the domain is the same.
Yeah.
And if they're all using your engine,
Right.
Are there possibilities that they would all be strategically same or similar?
That's a great question. And a lot of the customers ask the same question. The language models are specific to each customer. They live in secured containers that are their own. And that's as much of a security issue as it is, a little bit of, safety, but then each customer has specific things that they do well. And that is, they talk about it as their crown jewels. These documents, these unstructured documents that detail what their companies do, they are more than likely very unwilling to share it with another company. Therein lies the problem of large language models, right? Where it's just trained on a bunch of data that everybody can see on the open internet. Now, OpenAI and those large language models, they can't get their hands on that. It's proprietary data, right?
Yeah.
It's copyrighted. The company owns it. And so you have to give them the ability to then allow the large language model to learn from their data and make it specific to them. So in our system right now, no one customer data touches another customer data. It's multi-tenancy, but there's no shared services.
Okay.
Each deployment, each tenant
Mhm.
gets their own user interface, their own API, their own
Mhm.
database, the vector
Mhm.
database, the ingest process, right? It's all segregated.
But in terms of maturing the transformer itself
Yeah.
over time, is that then going to be limited to every organization that is using it?
Yeah, it's well, the base models could change, right?
Mm.
Certainly,
Mm.
right? And we're already seeing that, right? So you're seeing NVIDIA do these outlandish, and I even, there was a 500 billion parameter model that NVIDIA was using. And then just today, I saw something from Hugging Face that was 1.6 trillion parameters, right? And so I think that there's certainly no stopping the improvement of these models. But when it comes to data, customers have their own data, but then you have the ability to feed it additional new information that either the company is creating or your research organizations are creating, white papers. One things we encourage our companies to do is the previous proposals you've written are about what you've done in the past, right? Well, what about what you're doing actively? Engineering and program summaries, project summaries, engineering notes, emails. What about grabbing everything from Slack? It's very easy now to, in this API driven world, to connect to just about any data source. You just have to know how to treat it and handle it and throw it through an ultra large scale ingest pipeline. And so its ability to continuously learn is only hindered by any given company's ability to structure and parse and normalize unstructured data, right? That's the wall. That's the brick wall. That's the dam. Now, if you can break that dam down, you can create domain-aware generative AI, and that's what we've done, right?
Okay.
So we're super excited about it. But the models can learn from anything, right?
Yeah.
To be sure. Let me throw a couple questions at you. So I'm a young entrepreneur, right? Founder of a company that's relatively new. It's a year old, and getting some traction. We're doing good. Where have you seen, young companies go wrong, right? And what are the steps you can take to mitigate the risks associated with companies that maybe start out strong but then go down, right? What have you seen across your career that you could turn into advice for a young founder, a young entrepreneur?
Okay. Yeah, that kind of ties in with what I wanted to ask you as well.
Okay. Well,
terms
you got to answer first, though.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that. I got so carried away by the technology. I'm so fascinated by this. We've been talking more about than the individual.
Yeah.
Because for any startup, I think it's call it the vision of the founder or the fire in the belly or the passion of the founder.
Yeah.
That's going to make a big difference.
Okay.
So because there are going to be ups and downs, and then what kind of
for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes you persevere and then go on. You don't become a unicorn overnight.
That's right. That's right.
So what was that trigger, or there must be some moment that told you that, yes, I'm going to start up now? While you said you were working on this 15 years, you realized the problems.
Yes.
But that leap of faith.
That's right.
Yeah. Because that was the first thing that I've seen as a very strong ingredient, even if it is not the first company to get into a space.
Yeah.
I mean, right now I'm working with one startup, so to say.
Yeah.
They are in the fintech space. There are a lot of companies in the fintech space, but what differentiates them is the way they are looking at the problem, the value that they're going to be providing differentially.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Differentiators, the moat, right? The moat that you build around your product. So have you noticed across your career, someone starts out extremely passionate about what they're building and what they're doing, and then does that passion die? Is it very difficult to maintain that passion?
Yes, in the sense that depending on the pressures.
Yeah.
particularly if you're taking in a lot of outside investment,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
then the investors' priorities and their style of how they want to take the company forward may not be identical or similar to your passions.
Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a good piece of advice. You got to find the right investors. That's for sure. We're lucky we have. But that's good. But that can really affect your passion as you go along.
Right.
Certainly that those things can compile. I wonder if passion might be conversely associated with how long you've had to deal with the brutality of some type of solution. And to answer your question, this is what it was for me, right? No matter where I was, no matter what company I was at, it was all about this process that continuously throughout my entire life took my weekends away from me, right? Took my nights, these sleepless nights. I've something, an amendment came out to the proposal. It's Friday, it's due Monday morning. There goes your weekend, right? So I dealt with this for just huge amounts of time. And it's all about timing, because I've wanted to solve this for a very long time. Then the world of research began to experimenting with transformers and being able to train them at over 1 billion parameters. Even just a couple of years ago, the cost to do so was tremendous, $30 million or 25 to $30 million to train a billion parameter plus model. So the culmination of my entire career that was creating, and I hate to admit this, right? Because it's almost, sometimes it's a fallacy when people tell you have to love what you do, to be happy and then to prosper. And I had a very different experience because I hated what I had to do focused around this problem. It was born out of hate. And which is interesting, right? I love what I do. I love technology and I love engineering, but this problem set, this pain point, comes from a place of just deep hate into a process that I believe has been viewed as just this broken down shamble of a home, right? Like I said, everybody hates the necessity of it. It's in proposal world or capture. Do you go here to die, to finish off your career? Everybody knows how brutal it is. And I want to burn that house down. And in its place, I'm going to build a cathedral. And I am going to transform an industry. You talk about passion, right? That is honest as I can be with you right now. I am trying to burn something down and in its place build a cathedral. And if you don't feel that, right? I don't know if the entrepreneurial world is for you, because I have nights when I wake up in the middle of the night wondering, what in the world have I done? What am I doing? And yeah, it's a little imposter syndrome and it's all those things and the psychology of human beings. But then I wake up in the morning and I remember the hate, right? And what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to transform. And if you can maintain that, and if you have a team built up around you that is as passionate as you and has experienced that problem, and you can support each other, there is no limit. You've just created the next Google. You've created your unicorn. But that's the difference, because I don't think in terms of unicorns, and I don't think the multiples and the world of venture capital, it doesn't register. What registers for me and what I see every day is the building of a cathedral against a pain point that I want to terminate. Right. Now, will that translate into success? I hope so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we normally talk about, when you're talking about a value proposition,
Yeah.
are you creating something
Right.
that is going to be a gain creator or a pain reliever?
Right.
The gain creators are usually dreams. The people may not have seen them. They say that yeah, all these can be done.
Yeah.
Whereas a pain is something that I'm experiencing now.
Yeah.
And I can at least realize that or relate
Right.
that if I don't have that pain, maybe I could do something else.
That's right.
So to that extent, the relatability from the user segment would be better when you're working on a pain reliever.
Yes. Yeah.
But the other point that you mentioned is also very important, which is about the team
Yeah.
also being aligned, to your
They
vision.
have to be. Yep.
And yeah, even yesterday I was talking to, including my daughter, about this whole work-life balance.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think that's a warped understanding that most people have. Like
Right.
what you said is more like a work-life harmony. I mean,
Mhm.
you are passionate. That's what drives you. It's not that you are sacrificing something else. Yeah, yes, there would be some impact.
Right.
But then are you able to balance that?
Right.
Right.
I think
And-
that's true.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you mentioned also, the moment you start chasing your valuations,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
then this is something that someone told me when we were trying to create some enabling technologies for others
Yeah.
within a large enterprise. And obviously there were suggestions saying, hey, why don't you take this out as another offering, another product, another consulting, or another revenue stream? I was just telling them that we have been created primarily
Mm.
to improve the efficiency or thing within the organization.
Yeah.
Now I'm facing them. If I start facing out and going to customers, what will they see of me?
Right.
Right?
That's good.
If it's just my back, is that what they do? And will I be serving the main purpose that I was created for?
Right. No, I like that. I like that. You have to, one of my favorite things to do, and this is pretty much all I do, is, I'm the founder and there's great people around me. We run the team, but more than half of my day,
Mhm.
I live at the customer sites.
Mm.
And using our software, shameless plug, which is called Rohan. No, just
In fact, I had a question on that. In terms
Yeah,
of
I know.
How to explain this to someone who has not seen the Lord of the Rings?
I know, you're right. And we don't even have a website. We're deep in stealth.
Yeah.
But I spend over half of my day at customer sites writing proposals for them using the system.
Mhm.
Right.
Mm.
And so I'm in there in the trenches doing the same thing
Mm.
that our users do. And if I lose, if at some point it becomes not about that,
Mhm.
right? Not to say it's all over, but something has changed, right? That I'm just going to try and keep that going as long as I can. And the focus on the customer, right? We talk about our culture a lot. And we firmly believe at this company, what you do is who you are,
Mhm.
right? It's not what you say. It's
Right.
nothing to do with verbiage, right? That's written down on a piece of paper. It's all about what you do. And we talk about ourselves as this almost, we call it like a Fremen culture, which is from the Frank Herbert's book Dune,
Mhm.
right? The Fremens,
Yeah.
who are these just fanatic warriors, right? The
Mhm.
all fanatic religious warriors that are so focused on one thing. It is all they care about. And what we focus on, the only thing we care about is our customer and improving their life and changing this business. And you find a way to keep that alive. You find a way to make sure that's your purpose and you maintain that purpose. So, oh, that's good. That's a long conversation I know that
Yeah.
we've had.
Yeah.
There,
And of course, one more thing is
Sure.
probably scaling too fast.
Oh, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's all gone.
Yeah.
That world is gone. I don't know that world very well. Because I don't come from the world of Silicon Valley.
Mhm.
Now you certainly hear about like blitz scaling. You can read the book
Right.
and all that stuff. But I think those were outputs of just an economic season that lasted 15 or 20 years where the stock market just did not go down, right? Now, I believe that right now you have to be a missionary founder. You have to be a Fremen to start a company right now in this economic climate. And if you don't have that passion, you should probably not do it. There's probably not a lot of like blockchain Web3 companies starting and getting funded right now. So that world of ultra scaling, that world, I don't know, but what I can tell you is, we were bootstrapped for a very long time, and it made us capital efficient. And money will help you scale for sure. But the best companies in the next few years are going to be funded by their customers. Yeah. Just period. Right. And if you're looking for your company to survive via funding mechanisms, you're in trouble. Right. You need to look at pivoting or what you need to look, you need to find a problem to solve, number one. But the best companies in the next 5 years will be the ones funded by their customers. And that's up to this point, that's what we are. That will change pretty soon. We just solidified our initial seed round, for the company. But after we had traction, after we understood, we knew what we had and had a very good plan of how to scale what we're doing.
So how has your own personal experience been in transforming to a CEO? You did mention that.
Yeah. Well,
more specifically,
more specifically,
how do you maintain your balance?
Sure. Well, there isn't a whole lot of it in terms of, at the very beginning, right? The beginning stages. And I would, everything, you live it, you breathe it, you eat it, it's all you think about when you sleep. But when I initially made the change, and so I knew, when Transformers came out and I began to understand them and experiment with them, and I knew how profound they were going to be, I knew I had to stop doing what I was doing. And I had a very good job. I loved my job. Some parts were stressful, just like everything else. But the night that I told my wife what I was going to do, that I had to do this, that I felt I didn't have any other choice. I woke up the next morning a different person, and just that hasn't changed. That for me, right? This renewed sense of passion, this renewed desire to push transformation, and I've been able to keep that going. Now, I love the team that I have because of the culture that we set up. We are religiously and fanatically focused on solving this problem together. And I'll tell you, it's been over a year, and I haven't been paid yet. Right now, that's okay. But I spend an awful lot of money taking care of the community, the people that we've created around us to help solve this problem. There's nothing more important to me than the customer, right? And the people. And in the company. And so that passion has tremendously helped me, I think, become a good founder, right? Huge parts of your job is recruiting, and displaying that passion so other people can get carried away with it as well, can adopt that passion, can become passionate about that. And as it isn't as complex, I think, as people like to make it. Now, there's been 1 billion and 1 books written about management, but I try and keep it as simple as I can. You must take care of the people in the community
Mhm.
that you are trying to create.
Mhm.
And you must be religiously fanatic about solving your problems. And doing it in a manner which is consistent with the values that you want to create, right? Do no harm, right? Just, be good people and together create this environment where you can succeed. And if you have the right motivations for it, I think anybody can learn to be a founder, for sure.
Yeah. And if I may ask, are there any personal practices that help you manage your stress or stay calm?
So I think that that is a fantastic question. I'm gonna be transparent with you. I don't know if I have created the environment to set up those habits, those personal structured things that you should do as a founder, right? I don't think I found all of those because I'm really new at it, right? To be sure. But in your discussions with other founders, what are some of the answers that they come up with? If you've ever asked this question or kind of read about it.
Oh, no, I do. And then, in fact, in many of our coaching engagements as well, we say that it is not just the hard things, the things that are apparent or visible. It's also a lot of these softer things. And we say that managing outside by mastering inside.
Yeah.
So whatever happens, don't let it be personal. Don't take it personal.
Ooh, that's a tough one for sure.
Yeah. It's a tough one. I mean, sometimes you're so passionate, you're attached to your idea.
Right.
And then when you get a refusal from a customer or a comment saying that, no, this meets only 5% of my needs, etc. I mean, it's not personal, first of all.
Right.
Same thing with people.
Yeah.
Since you said no, the emphasis is going to be on people.
Yeah.
How do you not let that affect you as an individual?
Right.
So there could be simple things. Today, of course, there's the broad label of mindfulness and mindfulness practices.
Yeah.
Anything that you are comfortable with.
Right.
Right from simple breathing techniques.
Yeah.
Yeah. To maybe a little more discipline, whether it is going to the gym or going for a walk or doing yoga or any of those practices, which also need to keep your physique also in shape.
Sure.
Because with all these long days and short nights and all nights and all that.
I wonder if consistency has a lot to do with that. So I have to travel quite a bit because a lot of our customers in the East Coast, the Washington DC region, and I find myself
time zone difference as well.
Yeah, time zone difference. But I find myself staying in the same exact hotel, and I try and get the same room, just for consistency. Just in my psyche, consistency helps. Calm myself, but. So maybe, finding those practices where you can be consistent, I think might be part of how I deal with a little bit of the stress, right? Yeah. Having a good home and family life, but then a significant other or a spouse that can support you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because I'll tell you, I could have this exact same amount of passion and maybe would have been a little bit younger and would not have been able to achieve what I've achieved because simply I'm older and I'm more financially stable, and my wife has been able to support me, and my family's around me has been able to support me as I go through this process. So the attaching yourself to what you can anchor yourself by has been hugely important to me, and then making decisions to make sure that I don't jeopardize any of that or jeopardize the relationships that I'm trying to create with the community, the people that work at the company, or with the customers, right? You have to you make sacrifices, right? But again, a lot of it is attached to the value, your values of who you are and who you want to be, not how you are going to be perceived, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be really honest with yourself throughout this journey. And some people aren't. Sometimes it works out for them. FTX. How in the world did that happen? Now I went through the seed process where we went through diligence with some of the same
Investors.
venture capital firms that were funding some of those guys, and I'm like, boy, that there's a whole lot of diligence on this. I didn't graduate from Stanford. I don't know what the difference is, right? But it has a lot to do with the success, and not necessarily measuring success by monetary standards, right? The most successful I've been is transforming the lives of our customers that I wanted to do, and then creating an environment where it's all about the people at the company, right? Yeah. And it's expensive. And to make sure that everyone is taken care of with top level health insurance plans, make sure everybody is getting the time off that they need, understanding individually every person that works at the company and what drives them, because it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Right. It could be money for someone. It could be something totally set. There's a lot of things that go into it, but your integrity is a huge piece of all of this. Yeah. Family, integrity, consistency.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little on the path, right, to being okay, but I'll have to study up on habits to handle the stress. Yeah. Hey,
And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now the reason we got connected. So you're working at different NGOs.
Well,
right
actually,
now.
I wear two hats.
You wear two hats, right?
One is for the thrills.
Right.
Yeah, that is with the society, and then what can we do to particularly the rural NGOs in India right now.
Right.
And something to pay for the bills, where I do have my consulting and my experience of 4 decades plus.
Right, as an engineer,
in the IT
and that's what you do.
industry,
That's good.
Yeah.
So, and for your listeners to know, I know your daughter, Barry, and who's a genius architect here in the Midwest, which is where we all live. And I've been listening to your podcast for, this is the first time we met in person, but I've listened to your podcast since before the pandemic, 3 years or so ago. And it's a very different place in my life back then, but it's the first time we were able to get together.
When you had your podcast, and then that kind of
I had a podcast
earlier, right?
That's right. I was going to interview you. And I don't remember what it was called. It was Machine Learning for the Masses. Yeah,
right. Exactly.
That's right. Yeah. And we did an episode where 1,000 people listened to it, and that was so big for me, right? Of course, that's those. Again, it's not about the numbers. That was fun. But it's an honor to finally meet you. I've followed your career and track what you've done, but it's been an honor to get to chat with you. And I think you're going to hear a lot more about the Rohirrim and Rohan in the near future, when we finally come out of stealth and kind of lead the charge into this new brave world of domain-aware generative AI. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, and all the best.
Thank
Steven.
you, sir. All right.
We thank Siddharth for the music and Anita for promoting the Software People stories.
If you like this episode,
Please subscribe on your favorite podcast client.
And spread the word in your network.
if you'd like to share your story,
Contact us at podcasts@pm-powerconsulting.com.